see. They've just got to do it one more time, lads.
One more, and after such a dominating Game 1 performance, like we said before, I think that Darkspawn, they need to really look inside themselves. You know, we saw today that miracles can happen, as Team Liquid seemingly out of nowhere beat IG 3-1. So if they can do that...
What do you mean seemingly out of nowhere? I called it.
You call it... I'm not going to completely ignore you. I think that they can do it. I think that Darkspawn can come back here, but they need to fix those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they had a lot of issues in that Game 1. There was still some shining light. I think Akers and Beely were really solid in the solo lanes in the early phases, but as a team, they just weren't coordinated, and I want to see what they do in the next game. I think ease of execution might help. I think get PFI off the elites because you're on such a burden to make things happen in the early game, and then he just falls apart later. And I think one thing that kind of frustrated me as well is that you have this Galio who really wants someone to be the initiator going forwards, and you didn't have that because you're the elites. What I think is interesting is I had the option of going towards something like the Jarvan in a similar draft phase, and I'm not saying that the game would have necessarily gone better with the Jarvan, because I think Blair still would have got murdered. But at least you have some reasonable engage to make proactive plays.
Well, I'm excited to get into picks and bans because I want to see what the adaptation is here for Darkspawn. Because, like you said, it's the onus is on the team but lost to change, to kind of shake things up and to change everything about. I still feel we probably won't see that Rise. I think Nvision will have the foresight to say no Rise today. But we probably won't see the Karthus as well as we do head into picks and bans. Darkspawn are on that blue side once again, actually, as Nvision are on the red. So we're actually having the same side selection for these two teams.
And I feel like the big difference about it too.
I think Darkspawn had choice in Game 1. I think Nvision are going, we won on red side, let's go for red side again. Rise just get banned away, seeing similar bans already coming out from these two teams.
And for me, the big thing is that even though I agree with you, I would love to see a more straightforward draft coming out from Darkspawn. It wasn't just the draft, and that is what kind of scares me going into the second game, is that there were some deep-rooted mistakes where they overplayed Death or overplayed without vision, committed to stuff where they shouldn't have committed, and that is the kind of thing that I think is really hard to fix. If you can get the complete mental reset going and then play like we saw them play yesterday, where they really play to their outs, then we're going to see Darkspawn take this next game, and I really hope that we get, because it would be such kind of a letdown if we still get two teams in the UKLC, new teams in the UKLC, which is awesome, but then have it be 2-0s. I want to see 2-1 here.
To be fair, Nvision took a game off E9, so it wouldn't be just 2-2-0s. But, you know, especially for a team like Darkspawn, you don't want them to kind of have like an anticlimactic, even if they do lose, for them to at least get one game does mean they kind of walk out with, they did something, they took a game. If Nvision get this win though, for them we have to look at for what it means for this team, because if they can get themselves a win over Darkspawn 2-0 coming into UKLC, that is such a statement to be made. That's like, okay, we might have to play through the relegations, but we are not a relegation team. We are looking to be higher in that ladder than the likes of Darkspawn, than the likes of Bulldoggers. We're already seeing what the picks and bans are being. We see the Akers is going to get his hands onto the Aurelia. The change here for Darkspawn is they ban away the Akali this time.
And it was crucially
Nvision get
the Morgana, which they did hover for a second there in Vision. So they picked the Kais and the Akali in this rotation last time. They've changed it up. They're going to go for the Kais and the Vladimir. They will obviously have to change that third pick because they picked the Vladimir there. The Akali is off the table. Now it comes down to Darkspawn. What do you want to do in response? Do you still think you send the Aurelia to the top lane? I think yes, it did pretty good. But the question is, what do you change here? Because remember, they took the Elise. It really did not pay off for them. They're going to take it again. So clearly they've thought it's not down to the pick. We just need to make it more easy to execute and be more proactive.
We'll have to see how this works out for PFI, because you've got to remember that first gank in the top lane onto Aurelia was actually very good for PFI. It was what he did after that. It was like you were saying actually pre-game. It was playing around vision. It was kind of like it was a lot of mistakes being made across the board, and the scaling worries me as what they look to kind of pick up as their final pick here is going to be the Ezreal for Flirt. So a little bit of a change here into Darkspawn's kind of plans.
Definitely safer than the Varus. Definitely harder to pin down than the Varus when you have a ton of dive going towards you. But crucially, you haven't given the Akali over to Nvision. So I think they saw one of the issue in teamfights was Flirt just got absolutely demolished. So their Akali isn't available, but they also take the Ezreal. And that means there is already less backline threat from Nvision. And to be honest, if I was Nvision, based on how they've been drafting so far, I would just lean towards their traditional, we can just put out tons of damage with the backline. 3z3 loves the Azir. Ezreal does not put out enough DPS to compete with, you know, a Kai'Sa, Azir, and Vladimir. I think that'd be the good call, so I really want Darkspawn to ban that Azir away now.
I'm really liking that Nvision are now taking the block away from Beely. They haven't revealed their hands because that Morg could go mid, and Morgana actually has a fine matchup into the likes of Little Bronc, but you don't want to give something over to Beely that he can kind of snowball on, that he can really kind of carry his team on. So take that away from him, deny him that pick. Obviously won't get his rise as well. So the questions are, what's been left open? We did see him lean into the Silas in that first game. Things like that Syndra as well that I've been hitting on is also open to him. So depending on what Nvision send mid, if this is just going to be a support Morgana or if it's going to be a mid lane Morgana, have to see what Beely kind of wants to round out his picks here as the Jarvan gets taken away by Darkspawn. Now Nvision looking for one last man.
I expect to see the Silas ban. It's what he played before. And then the other side, Darkspawn. I want to see the Azir ban, but honestly, I expect to see the Olaf ban. We just have to wait and see. They actually ban away the Aatrox, so thinking that they could end up putting Aurelia in the mid lane for Beely. Those still raise questions as to what Nvision are going to play, what they feel confident on in the mid lane. 3z3 hasn't shown too many champions, but he has got a core pool which he's very confident on.
I gotta say though, like you say, Orcs, I don't think that, especially with just a win in their pocket, if Azir isn't banned here, Nvision are gonna pick that up because they've already shown that they're willing to blind pick that, and they're just gonna leave their final pick to their jungler, which also they've done before. But instead, they're going for the Zac here.
There he is.
I quite like that. I think that you're just committing to the fact that you are a team that plays for the team fight. Zac, of course, with the Elastic Slingshot has the capability of pulling off some great ganks, but already with just the Zac and the Vladimir, the Morgana in there as well, I sense that Nvision say, well, you know, might have less backline threat on your Ezreal. We're just going to commit to going for the straight 5v5.
Well, I think one of the big things is that Morgana Zac is a great combo, really hard to stop that Zac from coming in. The one concern I do have is Nvision have gone for very much a scaling composition. They're looking to the later phases, and I know that is something they've traditionally played, but last game they had a lot more pressure in the early levels. It is something they lack here, which may favor Darkspawn, but I think this is outright a game where if Darkspawn don't get the ball rolling early, they will get destroyed in the later phases.
Is that Beely playing Karma mid?
I don't think so. No. I think that's more like the fast-legged, playing the Karma into the Morgana, who has a good matchup,
right. Yeah,
and then they'll take the Silas in the mid lane. That's one of the things Morgana, she does great into melee champions with the Black Shield when she can sort of deal with them. If she falls behind, it's a struggle. But into enchanters like the Karma, you can just constantly harass her with, you outrange her, you have longer range abilities, and then the only real threat is if a binding comes in return. So as long as they're aware of that.
There's still a possibility for a flex there, but they're not going to go for it. They're not going for the Azir once again, and I would have really liked to see a bit more proactive mid lane as something that can hit a power spike a little bit earlier, because if you go for something like, maybe something like a Syndra that as soon as you hit your ultimate, you put out a lot of threat with the Scatter of the Week, instead they're going for the Azir. And while this is peak Nvision, I really got to agree with you here that if they fall behind in the early to mid game, we saw yesterday that it's really hard for them to kind of hold on, especially if someone like Freezer3 and the Azir falls behind. So they're taking a risk here.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, especially as they've essentially given themselves a much less favorable bot lane when they have the Ezreal Karma, which is a great poke lane, into the Kai'Sa Morgana. Their top lane matchup isn't going to go favorably. Mid lane is more about that scaling. I think Azir is not going to do awfully in the Silas as long as he can keep him at bay. I think they've very much gone the sort of scaling route, which we have seen them done before, but I haven't expected the Azir to come out, honestly, just based on what 3z3 picks. But I wouldn't say that I think it's the right sort of strategy for them in total to go for this very much scaling focus. But it does mean if they do stay even with Darkspawn, they will just take over the late game.
For me, one of the things I am going to be tracking is the global pressure that Darkspawn had. They have 3 teleports in this game. Got one on Beely, got one on your AD carry, and there's also one top lane. So there is a lot of ability for just, before you know it, there are 5 people on top of you. You are getting turbo ganked right now. So they can kind of rotate around the map real quick. But like you said, you know, if Nvision can kind of get that time, but they do play into these later stages, they get the Azir scaling up. You've got the Kai'Sa as well. You've got the Vladimir. It does look dicey.
It definitely does look dicey. And as soon as Dicey said, it's like, it's very dicey, guys. But more importantly, we've also seen from Nvision that they are very much willing to take those early fights, because one of the plays that went well in the early game last time for Darkspawn was when they found the teleport, Beely run bot side, and Aka's got an early kill. Now then, actually capitalizing on that was a problem for Darkspawn. So now with all these teleports, I hope that we're going to see some proactive play and then able to snowball it as well, because if they do get ahead, it's a really punishing team comp.
All right, so I want to ask, who do you think is going to take this game and why?
I'm going to give this one to Darkspawn. I think they have a lot more early pressure. They don't have as much risk in the Varus, and I think that there's too much scaling on the side of Nvision.
I think it's going to be Nvision. I think that even with the greedy draft that they went for here, they're a team that has been able to consistently pull off drafts like this. I think that Darkspawn, even when they look good, I don't think they're the kind of team that can incredibly rapidly come into one of these series, take control of the game, and then never give their opponents an opportunity to kind of find their way back. And I think that Nvision is a team you can't afford to give them a way back into the game. I think Darkspawn are going to get ahead, and then in the mid-game, falter around the Dragon, around the Baron, and then Nvision are once again going to be in control.
It looks to me like Darkspawn are setting up multiple members towards this top side of the map, but they don't go for that invade. Everybody groups up.
Groups?
Well, they don't group up. They grouped up for a little bit, and then they spread out.
Groups.
Oh, no.
Well, it's one of those Jakeisms that I've never heard before.
I was about to say, what the hell is a croup?
Like a crap, but...
Craps are pretty good.
Creps are grand.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those.
Favorite crap topping?
Oh, you see... I'm like a real big fan of like the maple syrup ones. Like fairly basic, but like they're still top tier.
Yeah.
I'm still good for like a sugar crepe as well, right? Like I'm not big on like, especially when it comes to crepe, of like overdoing it. You know, some people have like strawberry. There's like a crepe shop I actually go past on my way home, and they were doing an invade. Apparently, is gonna find a binding onto one, and Flirt just takes a massive chunk of damage.
That is not a good start. I mean, crucially, he does have TP if he wants to get out of the lane and come back. But you saw the entire Akathian range just pummel into him. So a bit unfortunate there for Flirt, and just essentially a free trade for Nvision there.
All right. Well, it looks like they are gonna stay around in the lane for the moment. He's got a mana pot to work with. Hopefully, if he can land a few Qs, he might get some health pots.
Yeah. What about savory crabs?
Oh, so yeah, that's where I was actually going before the invade happened. Yeah. No, like I am not. They are not the one, dude.
You know, I actually went to a creperie and they had really good savory crepes. I was a big fan. They had like it had savory crepes for the meal, and then dessert crepes for the pudding.
That's a lot of crepes.
Yeah. No, I rated them. It was because I was in France. It was actually
country of the crepes.
Yeah, it was actually my first date with my girlfriend, who is French. So we went to a creperie, obviously, which made
Was that your first date?
Yeah.
That's adorable.
What was your first date?
I
don't know why we're getting onto this.
Well, we went to Nando's together. That was
it was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's awkward tension here on the show. Hopefully, we'll be getting back into game nice and quick, and I can be pulled away from this nightmare. Yes. Thank you.
I wanted to draw attention to, once again, PFI goes for the same pathing that we saw him go for last time, where he goes straight from his buff to the blue, to his own blue side, and then tries and get, presumably, another gank off on Bralia. And I'm wondering whether or not Bralia learned from last time and kind of keeps that into account and is able to avoid that consistently, because not picking up those high-value camps to the bot side means that PFI kind of has now has an awkward timing window where you wait for the craft to spawn, so you kind of want to get something going.
Nice use onto Flirt. He's able to sustain out. The Void Seeker gets blocked up by Fast Leg. Good block there. Doesn't mean they will be able to hold out in this lane for the moment. Now PFI is making a potential gank happen onto Borrelia here. Lands the point bank cocoon. They get the Blade Surge in. Uses that blood pool. Akers is taking tower shot. He's low. Borrelia flashes away. Finds first blood. PFI is going to jump away from Infinity. And Nvision punch back in game one. PFI can do nothing but sit in the bush and land a cocoon. No, he can't. Borrelia is 2-0 at 3 minutes.
And that is the worst case scenario for the early game of Darkspawn. We will get a look over at what's happened in that play. And dives with Elise are good, but let's see what happens.
He hits level 3 in the middle. While this is happening, because I don't think he skilled this Sanguine Pool, but while this is happening, he does. And then once he has that available, diving a Vladimir is just so hard, even with the Elise.
I mean, I think the issue there was more the fact that PFI didn't get aggro initially. It was Akers. And so the person who can repel...
Oh! What?
What a snipe!
Sit down! Flirt gets taken out.
What do you say after that? He predicts it.
GG.
That is literally calculated.
Did see off-camera UK meal deal went down. Hopefully we'll get a replay of that kill and be able to see that play once again, because it was great. And Beely getting ganked now.
He's getting ganked. He's done a serious amount of damage. They get themselves the knockup. Beely forced to flash away, and PFI waiting in the wings. Freezy still had barrier, still had flash, so he was nice and comfortable.
Yeah, 3z3 low on mana though. We'll get some help to push this wave out. UK Meal able to roam up. Beely just healing up from that corrupting potion. 3 members mid. Not exactly a fun laning situation for him, but they want to give safety to 3z3. Actually, he has to be careful because PFI is waiting in the area.
Yeah, UK Mildew might just be in for a little bit of trouble here, stepping towards that bush and making his way out. But PFI might just look for that assassination off. Does get spotted out on that water, and they now know he's there. And Nvision, what a solid start to this game too.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, well, I guess I'm eating my words. The binding's gone wide. UK Mildew, he is going to be a snack as PFI finds the kill.
He spotted them. He knew that definitely PFI was there. And
You
they
are
had no
correct.
vision on fast lag.
this is the worst case scenario. We saw Akers pretty hard winning this matchup 1v1 in the last game, but now Borrelia has double buffs, has an item advantage, 4 stacks on the Dark Seal, and he's able to bully out. We will get to see that replay. You give Mildew just taking tower shots. You should not be doing that.
Really?
Stays forward very low. Just gets essentially blown up by Flirt. The Ignite is going to be enough from fast lag, and then we see that play once again from Spark. So the passive is fully stacked, and then the flash
he
W,
flashed into it.
and he flashes into it. Really good moves from Spark to predict that, but also a bit of an oopsie daisy from Flirt.
Definitely a whoopsie daisy is. The next Drake is an Infernal. We've had 4 in these last 2 games, and looks like Darkspawn this time will be the team to pick that objective up.
Yeah, the Dragons know the stakes in this series. It is going to be another Infernal that will go pretty easily to Darkspawn, but gold advantage over to Nvision. Remember, we said in this game so much that Nvision have the favorable scaling going late in the game. The Darkspawn need to get the momentum going soon, or I'm going to be very concerned.
I also feel like Freeze is much more confident in this matchup now that he's playing DSC, because last time, just in the laning phase, he already fell so far behind against Beely, whereas now, even with a little bit of tension focused on this mid lane, he's been able to do really well. Now, there was, of course, that squad helping him in the mid game there, or early on, kind of push it out, as Infinity tries to recall there, but I think PFI knows he's there.
I do want to highlight the fact that Spark's gone for the tier first. Now, one of the things we've been seeing, and one of the hot discussion topics is actually going tier on the Kai'Sa isn't normally that great. I could see why maybe he wants to do it here, because Flirt is also going to be looking to build a tier, so it's not like you're going no combat stat into someone who's also building combat stats. They're both going to go tier.
You always want the pickaxe. The reason he went tier is because he had an early back where he picked up a Sapphire Crystal. And that's why he had the money for to finish a tier, but not for the whole pickaxe. And we'd actually see Beely coming in for a gank. He has a Morgana already.
He's going in for the chains. The slam goes down, and they're just going to pick that kill up. Spark now gets jumped onto underneath his tower, trying to survive out for as long as possible. Dodges away, but Flirt is going to go in. The tower shot will secure the kill, and UK Mildew picks that up.
It's not quite an execute, but it is pretty close. A solo kill with no assist for UK Mealdale, so Spark doesn't get any gold. It's not the greatest situation, but you got to take it. A really good roam from Beely.
What I love is that Darkspawn, even though they fell behind early game in what must be such a high-pressure game, they're still trying to set the pace. They take the Infernal Dragon, they force these players on bot side, and they're not giving up. They don't want to drop out of the UKC. They're putting so much
What a
pressure.
combo! The shuffle comes down. Beely's taking Sand Soldiers to the back of the head, and UK Mildew will pick up his second kill on this Morgana.
Yeah, and Beely just overconfident, felt he could just swan back in the lane, and that really was not the route to take. Could have gone through his own jungle and saved himself a death there.
Well, they do actually find that binding on to Flirt, but Infinity is too busy taking away the chickens, doesn't want to commit for a tower dive. He has only recently hit 6, so he does still have that Let's Bounce available, actually.
And crucially, Infinity, he's up 10 CS, but he's also had exactly the same impact as Flirt has had with being involved in 1 kill. And if you're in this situation as Isaac, you already have your Let's Bounce. You're feeling really comfortable because I feel like the Elise, if she doesn't start to snowball anytime soon, she's going to have such a hard time trying to get on top of you.
Look at that ward just timed out. Infinity won't walk forward into the bush, but remember, at level 6, he has 3 points in this elastic slingshot. A lot of range on it. If Flirt or Fast, they go too aggressive, it's a very easy gank.
They are kind of just baiting them for the moment. Sparks can take a little bit of damage. Flirt maybe wants to see if he can make it happen. Sparks steps away. The Void Seeker We'll just connect onto that cannon minion, and Infinity playing with bated breath, playing with a lot of patience.
I was scared that Flair would arcane shift in there. PFI is relatively close, but not close enough.
He gets himself the stretching strikes, the shift comes down, the flash into the back take down, and Fastleg is going to get picked up. The True Shot Barrage lands onto multiple members, but PFI too late to help the gank.
Yeah, he turns up, but after Fastleg has already gone down, it's the easy target. The only mobility from the combo was that flash. Once it's used, an easy pickup for the side of Nvision.
What this also means is that we now see that the pick has been picked up for Spark, and if he gets to this Moramoon, he's going to hit his power spike so much earlier than Flirt. He also went for a Cole, and without Fast, like, he can't really step forward into this lane, even as Azriel, because a single binding and it's just over as Rally just proxying a wave, or is he going to die?
It does have that cocoon available. The Hemoplate's already been hit onto him, so Billy can steal it away. That's going to be the shuffle back. Uses that repel. The Hemoplate's been thrown down, and I actually don't know who's the one to use it. PFI now running away, and the Sand Soldiers doing a lot of work to Billy, but Billy is going to not be able to save the life of PFI, as now Borrelia very, very low. That transfusion can hit him up, and Akers looking to get that stun down. Does land it onto one, but the Soldiers are coming in, and Easy Free is able to try and find himself one, but Akers does pick him up. Billy, low HP, trying to get the damage down onto Borrelia. Borrelia holding out with the transfusion. The Aftershock's going to get procced, and Infinity joins into the fray. Stretching Strikes pulls him back. Beely's low HP. Beely has to flash away, and it's a 2 for 2.
Yeah,
2 for 1.
2 for 1 in the end of that. Only 3z3 goes down. Brilliant. Lasts such a long time. And this is because he has so much more gold than he did in the last game at this point. Akers just feels essentially useless. He landed a stun, didn't really do anything else in that play. And Beely is trying his hardest to make things happen, but he is 20 CS down as a result. This is the burden from roaming so much to try and get your other lanes going. You fall behind in yours, and now they are 2,000 gold behind Nvision.
Because look at the plates. There simply hasn't been any opportunity for Darkspawn to really get anything going. I think they're close to a plate here on bot side, but besides that, they're falling so far behind in gold. It's not just of the kills and some of the CS discrepancies, but all of these plates are just rapidly falling to Nvision. With Borrelia, he doesn't care anymore because he got that early advantage. Even against Akers with the Grievous Wounds, he can just sustain through seemingly anything.
And that's the thing, Vlad is so oppressive. If you can't all in and kill him, he is just going to stay sustained. And actually, UK Meal could be caught out here. The root will connect.
Yeah, but watch for Freezy3 on that flank. The flash comes down, and UK Meal does make his way out. Freezy3 joins up with the rest of his team. As actually PFI maybe just found what it takes to get UK Mildew. Goes gone for the moment. Freezy3 comes in with a shuffle. The repel up as he will not take that binding to the face of Soldiers. Doing oh so much work. Freezy3 unable to find that kill.
But look, top lane, crucially, that was 3 members of Nvision. The other 2 are making a dive.
Oh no, he walked into it. Akers is low. Hemo Plague is on, and Akers might just try to get the kill here. It's not going to be enough. The tower shot onto Infinity, but he has Cell Division. He's going to walk away. Borrelia finds the kill, but Freezy3 did die bot lane.
Yeah, we should get to see that kill with a replay, but crucially, Nvision getting a successful play on the top side. They nearly got away with things bot lane as well, but in the end do drop 1 life off their mid laner.
I gotta say, I imagine that Freezer3, bit of a little more that he could shoot at. They get taken low.
Not low enough.
Not low enough. They just get out with a little bit of health left.
Look at the minimap. Beely is looking for these kills. He knows they're likely to be recalling here.
He has a shuffle, but they have a binding.
They're not
gonna
looking.
spot them on. Oh no, Spark has to ult away. Beely unable to find the kill.
He could have just instantly ulted, and at least Spark would have been the flash, but does not find it. Brilliant. I don't think he loses.
No, Akers is just getting dumpstered in this lane. Infinity finds the kill.
Don't know if you saw Zach coming, but Akers definitely didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Comes flying out of nowhere, and this is, of course, the power of the Zach. Now that you got all the points in Elastic Slingshot, you can just come seemingly out of nowhere.
Now, it does look like Darkspawn actually will be able to take this first turret blood, although it is a bit of a race. I would like to favor the Ezreal normally here, but very, very fed. The shuffle comes down, the binding's on Beely. Already forced to use the ultimate. Those chains are going to go pop. PFI has to take to the skies. Now UK Mildew is low on HP. The chain lash is enough to secure the kill.
Yeah, crucially, the animation from his binding locked him into the chain lash, the second activation AoE. So a bit of an unfortunate play, but Darkspawn's still willing to fight and get things, but crucially, they're only 1.5k goal behind. They have 2 dragons.
It was, in the end, Darkspawn who got it.
Yeah.
They got it first. Azriel was able to pace, the Zach and Vladimir.
They're only 1.5k goal behind, which at this point in the game isn't great, but it's not a ton. But the issue I have is just this scaling from Nvision. You should not be behind at this point if you're Darkspawn.
Because you said they're only 1.5k behind. I don't want them to be behind at all. They need to be ahead here. The Elise hasn't really worked out. Infinity's starting to approach the point once he backs here, where he's going to become an incredibly tanky member. They have so much upfront damage already on the back of Brelia being fed and seemingly going for another second item, Rabadon's here. And he's just going to shred through absolutely everyone. He's free able to pick up a lot of gold.
Oh no, that's not. Yeah, sorry. I thought it was going to Spellbinders, but actually it won't be because he needs an effort.
I really give up this turret though.
If it was for that. As Freezy Free actually is going to turn up. He is on a Nazir, so he's very good at clearing out these towers, out these minion waves as he's got the Nashers finished up and he's going to have to cut through that wave. So they're not going to lose the turret mid, but Borrelia should be able to take this turret bot.
And this is getting so scary when Akers just can't hold lane against this Vladimir. It really seems doomed this match. And actually, Borrelia's going in. I think
he's just going hard. The Hemo plays down PFI on that flank. Cocoon doesn't find his mark, and now Borrelia looking to get the kill. He just flashes in to secure it. And Borrelia, 1v2, finds the kill.
It's 15 minutes, and I feel like this Vladimir's already hit the late game point. This is not going well for Darkspawn. Riftel thrown down mid. They're going to continue the pressure, but UK Meal Deal might be caught out.
Yeah, uses that Black Shield for the moment, but Fastlane picks him up. In comes Freezy Free with a shuffle. Doesn't make it work, and Infinity now on that flank. Can't quite find those stretching strikes, and he is being cut through. Cell Division's not available. They get that charge off. The Redemption's coming down. PFI jumps in, and Beely secures the kill. Now they're looking for Spark, but they can't quite get it. They do lose the turret, but they do get kills.
Yeah, it was a beautiful play coming out from Darkspawn. They find a really good team fight. The skill shots all connected, but the issue is, look at the goal difference between those top laners.
Spark?
They'll see the play.
Beely's low. Beely maybe greeted there. Infinity finds the kill. Now they use the Let's Bounce, and Spark turns it around, picks up a kill.
And this is the issue, is that Borrelia is being so successful in the side lane that Darkspawn are desperate. They are trying to overforce because they think it's the only way back in this game. And Nvision, they managed to answer.
They don't even get the mid lane turret, and that would have opened up the map, allowed them to take control of the enemy jungle and try to extend their vision line. But instead, they don't get it. They give up 2 kills, and Borrelia gets the bot lane turret.
Now, while all this action's been breaking off, Borrelia's just been split pushing because Akers is 1-5. Akers can do nothing to Borrelia right now. This man on this Vladimir is looking so fed. He's looking so scary.
Absolutely. And it just feels like the answer isn't there for Darkspawn, and that's why the pressure is on. And they feel obligated to force as hard as possible, constantly look for plays. But it just doesn't work out because Nvision, they're ready to counteract them. And as long as they counteract them 50% of the time, they're gonna outscale. Borrelia is still gonna be a monster in the side lane. And even when that initial successful fight came in from Darkspawn, Borrelia was just happy to keep shoving away. And he's the most farmed person in the game. He has the most kills in the game.
Rabadon's. It's a 17 minutes Rabadon's death cap.
Yeah, it is
with
not
a Protobell.
It's not like okay.
It's not like that's just first item. He has a death cap. He also has that Fiendish Codex.
He's a 10 stacks Dark Seal.
Just get the Medjais, man. Just go for it. Infinity's jumping in. They find a Cocoon, but actually, they find 3 members. The shuffle comes back. Beely has a shovel to send them back as well.
That's cute.
That was a back and forth.
Yeah, I'm not too sure actually about that play because Beely could have used his shuffle first, and I feel like that would have killed 3z3. Does save at the end. Ooh, just not enough damage on that True Shot Barrage. Good attempt coming out from Flirt. Both AD carries have their mirror manners. I do believe Spark picked it up sooner by quite a margin, so I expect to see him having it stacked first.
But it is an Ezreal. Ezreal has an easier time stacking than the Kai'Sa.
True. Ezreal does have an easier time, but with the initial buy, and
they've got Cell Division to work with. Spark's doing a lot of damage. Ult's back. They haven't been able to kill the Zac blobs quite yet, and PFI is going to go down. Zac survives, and it's 1 kill for Nvision.
Yeah, and when the Vlad turns up, everyone leaves from the side of Darkspawn. You cannot tango with Borrelia right now. Way too strong, way too scary, and Infinity only drops his passive.
And Infinity been having a really good game here as well because he's so tanky. They finally chew for him just to activate Cell Division, and I don't think you would see him play this far forward if he hadn't that available. But more importantly, the teleport just forces everyone back. Look at how
Borrelia
aggressive they're
the ulti.
playing.
He just jumps underneath the tower. The Void Seeker does quite find its mark on Borrelia with the Empower Transfusion. Jumps through Beely. Beely has a Hemo Plate to work with, but it's not going to be off in time. Beely's able to run away. They've already found one quick kill. Uses that Let's Bounce to get back, and now Borrelia dodges away on the Cocoon. Got Spark at his back. Got a lot of DPS to work with and a lot of sustain as PFI forced to use the Repel. Borrelia is going to finally get taken down as Akers takes a binding to the face, and Spark is going to pick him up. It's a fight. It's a whitewash once again for Nvision.
Yeah, and it's just completely favored for them. Beely isn't able to really do much. The Borrelia just takes over the fight. That Vlad is such a threat, and they do shut him down in the end. But look at Spark, 6-1-2 on this Kai'Sa. Even if you take down the Vladimir, the Kai'Sa is still monstrous.
And that's the problem.
Spark's low. That Hemo Plague will find his mark. Spark forced to use the heal. He needs to try and find this kill before he goes pop. The heal onto Beely is big, and now UK Mildew is low. But look at Freezy Free on that flank. Fast leg goes down. He has that shovel to work with, but Beely picks up a double kill. He's trying to get it onto the triple. Infinity is going to try and go down, but he survives for so long. Freezy Free gets the double kill and saves the day for Nvision.
Beely tries to make the hero play, but Infinity just will not die. They're looking for 3z3 now, but they're starting to connect, and the shuffle's there!
What? PFI is not going to take these tower shots as they do get the Spiderlings down in time, but holy moly, Freezy Free looks so good on this Azir.
And what is so impressive to me is that Nvision, this is not looking like an open team. The amount of insane confidence that they have. You see how far they go there, and even with the vision, even with the fact that they have this lead, being able to push it so much, to find these opportunities to just continuously pressure. Like, I don't get how they can keep pulling this off. And Darkspawn, they just can't punish the constant skirmishing, and they're not letting them catch their breath.
Infinity has 3k HP. He's got 108 armor. He's got 82 magic resist. He is so hard to kill.
Wait, he's about to recall. That's what he had before he recalled. He's going to buy and have so much more HP and stats, so not a great situation. They will use a True Shot Barrage just to scan the Baron. It's not going to be done right now because Infinity is in base, but you can tell Nvision is setting up for this objective. Remember last game, a lot of deaths trying to create vision around this when Darkspawn just overcommitted. PFI and Beely were the members to go down that gave the Baron to Nvision.
It's nice to see that Darkspawn are playing with respect towards the vision this time. Last time they were just kind of face checking, expecting them to have been doing this Baron. This time they're probably not doing Baron right now. Let's play with respect towards that. Let's not go overly aggressive, over greed here. As you can see, that is one big old Zac.
The goal difference is 3.5k, right? The goal difference between the top laners is 3,000.
Yeah.
The entire lead is between the top laners, and it's a Vladimir who's benefiting from that. They will go to the Baron now.
This is a quick Baron with an Azir and with that Kai'Sa. Half health on the Baron already. UK Mildew doing his best to zone. This is just Envisions. There's nothing Darkspawn can do. As now maybe they look for Beely. Maybe they look for the chase. Freezy Free does have that flash, and they're not going to commit.
Also want to kind of deal with Akers, who's just off in the side lane, trying to do his best and just force an objective here and there. But the engagement comes through.
They do get that Let's Bounce back. That's going to be Beely dead instantly. Now Spark chasing for the kill onto Flirt. Flirt's looking to jump away. The slow comes down by Fastlane. There's a big Q to the face of Spark, and that will force him out.
A lot of damage on a Spark there, so we will have to back away, but crucially, Nvision get a kill there and lose essentially nothing, and Akers had already backed off, so it's not like he got another tower. All that happened is they sacrificed Beely, and he is probably the strongest member on Darkspawn right now.
And with the Spirit Visage, we already mentioned how Infinity was really tanky. Now, Spirit Visage, not only is it really good because the really scary members of Darkspawn right now for Infinity is basically Beely, and besides that, there's not that much that you have to be afraid of because Flirt hasn't really reached the point, if ever, where he's really going to be able to shred through that Zac. And it also means, as we saw there, that this sustain just goes through the roof because the increased healing means that every single cell blob that he picks up just going to give him even more health, and they already had a problem trying to get through this front line. They already had a problem dealing with the sustain from Borrelia, and all of these problems, they're just getting worse and worse as the game goes on. 5k gold lead now, and they might just break the base open here.
Yeah, and it's a difference between how useful these jungle champs are right now. 2 levels up on the Zac, but even so, at this point, he is just so useful. His engage is so good, and PFI, all he can do is just throw cocoons, And that's basically what UK Meal Deal does with the Roots. They are looking for the engage, though.
Looking to go in. A lot of damage has already been used. And let's bounce back. And Beely is going to find a kill. It's 2 kills picked up for Nvision. They've still got Baron to work with. And they're onto the base. Darkspawn have to make a miracle happen because their hopes and dreams of staying here in the UK LC are slithering, are melting away from them. Nvision are closing in on taking this game, on taking their spot on the UK LC. They are going to step back. They still got Baron to work with. They still want to play this game out as safe as possible. Baroning up this way. The Cocoon connects onto one. Borrelia jumps in into Fastlink. Fastlink is just going to be picked up as he has taken down Borrelia. 7-1 on the Vladimir. He's zoning them on their own fountain. They're going for glory kills. They're going for glory. The Nexus is going to be focused. Beely jumped in for Hemo Plague. They have to make this work as Akers is trying to get that damage down. All of the members are low, but not low enough as Nvision are just killing them on their fountain. Are just not even letting them give a chance. Borrelia goes golden. The stuns are not going to be enough. And with this, Nvision in 24 minutes secure their spot on the UKLC.
And they just absolutely crushed Darkspawn. That looked so one-sided compared to game one. They destroyed them, they dominated, and they earned their spot in the UKLC.
And I'm so excited to see that both of these open teams have such an incredible performance, and one can only wonder how they're going to develop as we get into the actual UKLC. How are they going to match up against the tried and true teams that we've already seen? Because if these games are anything to go by, it's incredible.
Well, commiserations to both Bulldog and to Darkspawn, who have unfortunately been knocked out of the competition and knocked out of the UKLC. But massive congratulations, first of all, to E9 for winning that upper bracket in a 2-1 versus Nvision. And Nvision, not to let that shake them. They come back today. They get a 2-0 over Darkspawn. They look dominating doing it. And like you said, it's going to be so exciting to see how they kind of show up in the regular split of the UKLC, because these two teams are looking very good.
Yeah, it'll be good to see how they will do faring up against some of the stronger teams in the UKLC. I think the top 4 that we have seen, which is Diabolus, M&M, Fnatic, and XL, I think they would all put a very good performance against them, and I would love to see what would come from that matchup.
And I also want to see, because I feel like for E9, they already look like a team with a variety of strategies, a lot of depth in terms of champion pool, whereas Nvision, I can't wait to see them get challenged, because they do kind of default to the Azir, to the Vladimir, and we know that they can get punished, as we saw done so extremely by E9. And I'm really wondering, what can this team show us more? Because now they've showed that they really control this one style. I want to see what else they can bring us.
And I feel like as well, we're going to have a sort of rivalry between these two teams because they entered at the same time. They'll want to outperform each other and be the better team that joined the UKLC. I can't wait to see that matchup between those two when they're in the UKLC, when they've had a bit of time to develop, and see if Nvision can take it over E9.
I mean, it's really cool, right? We got 2 brand new teams joining us here in the UKLC, but we have an MVP, and it's your man, Spark from Nvision. This AD carry, dude, like 7.67 KDA.
What I think is cool is that when we talked about E9, there was so much talk about their bot lane, right? Dan Voxney and Shazy, that is amazing players, but it was really Spark and Yukamidil who were able to consistently find the 2v2 outplay here as well, even though coming into it, we were more looking at players like Borrelia and like Infinity.
Well, I think the big thing was that no matter what happened, even there were times when Borrelia may have got punished in lane, may have overstepped, I just always, halfway through the game, I looked at Spark in this series, and he would be, 6-1 and something on Kai'Sa, and he would just have a really good KDA, he'd been picking up tons of kills, and just completely taking control of the game and being this massive threat. And it meant that even when there were situations where Borrelia went down the Vladimir, you still had this massive Kai'Sa who was just a menace to deal with.
There's multiple carry effects for both, to be fair, both of our teams who have qualified. So for me, it's kind of exciting because I feel like both of these teams have foundations now. They've got a little bit of time off where they can kind of look at what they've done right, because they've done a lot right, but they've got to kind of like work on it, because at the moment, I think it's safe to say that they are diamonds in the rough. These teams have a lot of potential. They've shown what they're capable of. It's now there's a little bit of things they kind of need to trim off on the sides before we look to kind of go into the rest of the UKLC. But if they do kind of shore up some of these kind of like weaker points, you look at maybe some of the Nvision's earlier games and things like that, or you look at E9's kind of early aggression. Once these things kind of get tidied up and cleaned up, they actually could be a top contender here.
Absolutely, they have quite a bit of time before the UKLC starts up again to just sort out these issues. We will have a quick look at the brackets so you can see how things all shook out over these few days.
All right, well, E9 able to get himself 2-0 over Darkspawn, and then they obviously made themselves a 2-1 over Nvision in that upper bracket final, and they were the first team to secure themselves a spot at the UKLC. Our two teams from the UKLC, it fought out in the lower bracket where Darkspawn got a 2-0 over Bulldog, took them down, and it was a close one. It was an exciting one, but then they come in today to take on Nvision, and they get 2-0'd, giving us two brand new teams into the next split.
And I gotta say, I think that, as we often tell, like, if you look at scores, it doesn't really tell the entire story, because that Nvision versus E9 fans who haven't watched it, if you look at the first game, there are so many, like you say, the kind of mistakes that we saw earlier in the tournament as well from E9, where they're just kind of out of position, and then compare it to the third game. And the same thing we can see here, where Nvision in the first game is looking a little bit shaky, but then the second game, they take control early, and they just never let go.
Well, if you have missed any of those games, you can actually head over to our YouTube channel, LVP UK, catch up on all of the previous VODs, because we're going to have a little bit of time off now, so you can kind of get a little bit of watching in, kind of catch up on what's been going on in the UK split if you haven't been able to watch everything. And, you know, if you've been enjoying your games, or, you kind of want to join in the conversation, even though there won't be games, we will still be talking to you guys over on Twitter at LVP UK. Use that hashtag Forge of Champions, or for next split, it'll be UKLC.
Do you remember, there'll be a lot of roster announcements, so be sure to tweet your views on them, who you think is going to go to which team. I
Power
love
ranking
that.
times, baby.
Power rankings is the best. Tier
list, yeah!
Everyone loves tier lists. All the players love the tier list I did last time. I think some of them even messaged me personally, and although it seemed aggressive, I could tell they were joking, right?
Yeah, they were like super. It was a joke.
Very sarcastic.
Yeah.
They don't hate me. It was a joke.
Who did you actually get messages?
No one did.
I'm not going to name names.
No one cared enough.
Yeah, no, I just know some people were less than happy, but that's what it's about. It's your opinion. You have the opportunity to prove yourself, and a lot of them proved me wrong.
Well, with that, we are going to be rounding out our show here on Forge of Champions. But we will have in July UKLC returning for the summer split. So until then, have a great summer, and we'll see you later.
See you then.